Alright, hello everybody, my name is IceSuperN, and I'm back with another video, and hopefully this will spread a bit further than anything else. But I want to do a theory video on the sister location, so this will have spoilers. But I've been looking at a bunch of theories, and before, I know a lot of people are like, yeah, there's theories, multiple theories, but there are some really good theories out there, and especially because it's become more confusing, the sister location. And I know I haven't done a Let's Play of it, and the reason for that, as I've explained that, is I've just been having so much trouble doing and keeping up with the videos and not having the right software, so I've quit for a while. So for a while, this will be just like something for Five Nights at Freddy's to reminisce and some other stuff, and I will be doing some other content. But without further ado, I do got my new phone here, which is awesome. I don't know if I can show the brand name, so I'm not gonna try and do that. But if you can see it right there, congrats. But, okay, let's start off with sister location. So, if you've played it, which this is going to be full of spoilers, so if you haven't played it or watched Let's Play, go watch Markiplier or somebody. Razbowski, Donko, they're great YouTubers. I love them. They're awesome. Or Jacksepticeye, which I haven't seen his Let's Play, but I'm going to watch it. But anyway, if you haven't seen it, go see it from somebody or go see it from a YouTuber that you like that's played it. Because it is a great game. It is definitely better. It's changed from the original. But without further ado, let's go. And I'm sorry about my mic and my cam. But, okay, so we start with sister location, correct? So, here's sister location. At the end, there are two endings, and eventually I'll bring some video clips towards it in another video as well, or at the end of this one. So, we see that, three main things that really stick out. And four. So, at the beginning, we have the cutscene where William Afton, which we know is Purple Guy based off the book, and I've heard a bunch of things about the book. I know Dako did a video on it, and explained the book and stuff. So, William Afton is Purple Guy. And now, you know, the serial killer and everything, he is a serial killer. So, we have that. So, we know that already he's created these robots, these animatronics, and they're curious about the features he's created. And the only thing we get at the end is the guy saying, those aren't the features we're curious about. So that could mean many things. And a lot of people think, after seeing the minigame, Baby's minigame, where she lures the daughter in with ice cream, and she's sucked into the chest. And Baby does tell a story about that she could not move till she got closer, and she popped open her chest, and there was screaming from the girl. So, that gets a lot of people thinking that it's another bite. I wouldn't consider it a bite, and the reason for that is because it's not technically a bite. It was more of an attack than a bite. And it wouldn't make sense to the bite of 87. I know a lot of theorists are saying, well, you know, the bite of 87, blah, 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 83 from Five Nights at Freddy's on the TV. Okay, that's a sense then. Because the game itself was proven to be, you know, in 87. And I will put some links below to the people who have done this, because I will not take credit for this. I've been reading other people's, you know, things. But we'll start off with the end of Five Nights at Freddy's again. I'm sorry I'm jumping around, but let's go here. So, at the end of Five Nights at Freddy's, the sister location, the good ending is that William Afton, or whoever you're playing as, it's speculated that we are William Afton, is killed. And he is murdered. So, after he's scooped, a lot of people go, how when Baby said that they needed his body, how is that supposed to happen? And I know I've thought about that too, because I thought, since people are saying Ennard is a part of every animatronic, which makes sense, a lot of people were like, how is he, like, how do they get into his body? And some people say that they stuffed an endoskeleton, because the scooper scoops the insides of the animatronics out. So a lot of people say, maybe Ennard just shoved in an endoskeleton, because at the end we see purple eyes. And it would make sense. Or did they possess him? But my thing is, even if they did kill him, there had to be some sort of physical essence for them to stitch the body up somehow. Because no human would walk around with their entrails hanging out the bottom of them, you know? So, there's that. But that makes me think, too. Because if we skip to Five Nights at Freddy's 3, William Afton is killed. So, my thing is, there was blood in that cutscene. And my thing is, after 30 plus years, because the third one's supposed to take place since the first one, 30 years later since the first one. But this is plus years then too. So how would a body be able to maintain blood and everything, and how could it not decay down to bone? Which eventually we did see that there was a skeleton inside Springtrap. So that makes me think of another thing. And I think, how could there be an endoskeleton but then just be a skull? Unless the endoskeleton is hidden inside the skull. And since Scott, never made the timeline yet, you never know. But somebody came up with a theory. Let's see. So the Afton plot, I'm reading this source. Probably the most popular sister location theory is that the player takes control of Purple Guy, also known as William Afton, as I've said. Preceding each night are small clips from a little girl begging the man to get closer to Baby and the ice cream she makes, which we knew from the cutscenes that we always hear this girl. In true Five Nights at Freddy's fashion, however, the metallic entertainer malfunctions and kills the kid. Which also does make sense because she does malfunction. Baby says that she stopped and she couldn't move until the child got closer. So it's like, you do know that she malfunctioned, so it wasn't by choice. She said she couldn't control herself when that happened. So that might have been a program that they were curious about William Afton, because if you look, I know some people said that you can see corpse inside some, like, Funtime Freddy and stuff, or you can see the weird entrails in there. And another thing is, why can these animatronics open their faces? Why can their endoskeletons be revealed? And that's something I think that was one of their curiosities, is when they asked them, they're like, I think one of their questions was, why do these things need to have their faces open and stuff? Like a Venus flytrap almost. So there's that. And kills the kids. So several years later, back to reading this, sorry, Afton goes to the sister location to make peace with the tragic events. It's at this point that Baby and her robotic friends take the opportunity to trap Afton, which makes sense when she stuffs him into the suit in Night 4. Scoop his body and fill it with vengeful animatronic soul. Ennard made by parts of the characters. This explains Afton's need to kill in the previous Five Nights at Freddy's games, which makes sense that he is possessed himself. That makes sense, because it's shown that somebody that we think is William Afton, or at least somebody, was possessed by the animatronics to escape. So with that, we also go down. We'll go down. Sorry. This explains Afton's need to kill in the Five Nights at Freddy's series. This idea is seemingly solidified when Baby asks the player... Oops, sorry, it keeps jumping around with all these ads. Asks the player, isn't this why you came back? Or... Yeah, I think that's what they said. Sorry, guys. Yeah. Isn't this why you came here? William's daughter, quote, William's daughter possesses Baby and knows of her father's relentlessness, end quote. If the good, quote, fake, quote, end quote, ending is completed, William sits at home while Ennard enters the room. Assumingly, Afton has won the spirit of his daughter back. The immortal and restless is another theory, or another thing. After each night of the Sisters' Location, which I won't read all of it, players watch a funny soap opera, fake soap opera, of course, on their TV called The Immortal and the Restless. Now, this basically tells a story of, the vampire and the wife, and it goes pretty deep into a marriage and relationship and the child they had. So, this one said that, what I thought, hang on, sorry guys. Sorry, my phone's about to die. But basically, this gets people thinking that maybe this is supposed to represent his life. Because obviously the cutscenes are there for a reason. So people are thinking maybe that represents his life. And what happened between him and his wife during these events of what happened to the daughter. Because a lot of people think that is William Afton's daughter. Now, the link to the other stories, the other Five Nights at Freddy's games, going a bit ahead of here. So, assuming some of the above theories are true, fans may have a few questions about established Five Nights at Freddy's lore from the games and books. As Fantics probably know, the purple guy becomes Springtrap at the end of the game. And that event is fully shown in Five Nights at Freddy's 3, which we do know. And I will put some images up because I will be doing a part 2 to this. If that's true, however, how does that work given what we know about Sister Location? The running theory is that Afton essentially becomes an animatronic inside an animatronic. It explains why the employee is specifically fired for odor towards the end of the first game. Rotting flesh can't smell too good, which makes sense. How did they maintain a body? How did they maintain this human body and no one seemed to notice that this was a dead, decaying body? But then again, how could you go about watching somebody's body just flake off as dead with no blood flow and stuff? It'd be pretty odd. So my question is, how did these animatronics pass this body off for so many years without anybody noticing the fact that the body was rotting? Because you can't be alive and have, your body start falling apart without, some sort of disease. So that's another thing. And then, I guess Henry was supposed to be also a guy who created the animatronics as well from the books. Another theory is you play as Henry. Of course, as with a good theory, there's always a counterpoint. There are certain pieces of evidence that make a connection to Afton a bit tenuous. After all, we know a Sister Location takes place in an establishment called Afton Robotics. Why would its former owner decide to take a low-paying job at his place he owns? Why does Baby not recognize her own father at the beginning, or recognize her own father at the beginning of the game? The main solution, of course, is that we instead play as Henry, the co-owner of Fazbear's Entertainment, from the Silver Eyes book. We know he has had an accident with an animatronic, and it would explain some of those above plots. Henry's made lots of animatronics for his daughter, Charlotte. Maybe he returned because he feels guilty about what Baby did. So maybe that could be his daughter, too. Instead. So that's another thing. And those are some questions. And I know that raises more questions. And I will do another theory video. But that gets me thinking. Because I'm always like, why? How would the animatronics live for so long? But also, when Purple Man's crushed to death, blood comes out. Blood comes out of him. So how does blood be preserved if the theory of why Mike smelled so bad is because of the rotting bodies inside the animatronics? So if those kids are in there, which was pretty much proven at the end of Five Nights at Freddy's 3, is that the souls from Freddy and stuff were released after being freed by being put to rest by seeing their killer killed himself. That put their souls to rest and they were free. Now, that raises a question. Say one of those were purple guy. How could that body, maintain, blood flow and everything else? So that really raises a lot of questions for me. And it really gets me thinking on this. And that's why what I'm trying to figure out so much is how all this is going to unfold. And we don't know. Maybe Scott will give us a second game. Maybe he will write a second novel. Or maybe, because I do know that there is talk about a movie. So maybe the movie will explain it. You never know. Scott's really got us thinking again. And it really mixes you up. Because after the fourth one, we were still confused. We were still asking questions. We were still all over about what was happening in that universe. There was a lot of stuff that was answered, but that brought up more questions as to why, what, and some things that weren't exactly answers. And one of the major things that were questioned was what was in that box. Maybe it was the whole story unfolded. And another thing for Five Nights at Freddy's quick is we do see that the boy is in the hospital. That is the bite of 87. No matter what way you put it, that was the bite of 87. And a lot of people are wondering, I know some people that may wonder this. Another theory that I read, and I'll eventually put the links in here definitely. I just have to find them again, but I'll upload it for now and I will edit it in there for you guys. But another theory that I got from there is the brother was talking to him, which I thought too, because I looked back at the cutscene, and the brother was talking to him while he was in a coma. And the reason that there was a flat line and stuff starts fading away is because the brother took him off life support. And that was simply a mercy act of saying, I am so sorry. This is because of me. You are here and you are mortally wounded because of me. You're in pain, you are dying, you are laying in a hospital here, you're suffering so much, and he doesn't even know that these nightmares about the animatronics are going on, but he does know that he hurt his brother very badly, and that his brother did have a possibility of suffering the rest of his life or dying. So he did the next best thing, which was put him to rest out of mercy as an apology. So this will be a part 1 theory. And I'm going to keep thinking about this, but hopefully this will spread and maybe some people will watch it and maybe you guys can comment for the people who do watch it. But I definitely feel that people are onto something and it makes sense to try and theorize this, but you never know until Scott confirms it. And one of these days I'm sure he will answer the full story, or maybe he'll just leave us like we thought at Five Nights at Freddy's on a cliffhanger. You never know. But anyway, without further ado, that pretty much wraps up all the time I have for this video. Hopefully you guys will enjoy it. You guys enjoyed it. And if you do have something that you do want to comment, or something that you think might be a theory, write it down in the comments below and spread the video. I want to see what people think and see if this kind of makes sense. Because I know there's a lot of questions to be answered, and there's a lot of things that are confusing. Like, the purple guy thing is still one I'm thinking about. But I didn't even start to think of Henry at all either from the book. So, yeah, so thank you guys so much for watching. And hopefully you guys did enjoy the video. But yeah, so hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. And you enjoy some of the theories and stuff. And hopefully you'll watch it again. And hopefully I'll have a better setup and I won't be stumbling through my words. Because I have so many ideas coming out of my mouth at once. And coming into my head. So, thank you all for watching, and as always, stay tuned for more. So long, everyone, and it is great to be back.